Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we'll see how to do source netting on the FortiGate firewall. Okay, so there are multiple types of source net we can do on Fortinet firewall. Like first is use outgoing interface IP address. Other is dynamic IP pool, where we can create a range of IP address for the dynamic netting or dynamic source net. And the third one is one-to-one netting. Okay, so let's start with that. So I'm using the same topology which I have used in my last video. Okay, so I have already logged into the firewall. So first we'll see how to use outgoing interface IP address for the source net. So what is source net basically? Okay, so when internal users or internal PCs, like if you see here, we have created VLAN 20, VLAN 30, DMG segment. So if VLAN 20 users need internet access or VLAN 30 or DMG servers need internet access, so they are having private IP address. Okay, so as you already know, private IP address cannot communicate with internet directly. So for that we need netting. Netting is nothing but okay, it's a like we are doing translation of one IP to another IP. So that is the netting only. Okay. And what is the source net? Source net basically we are translating internal IP on the firewall and then it is going outside. Okay, to make communication in between public and private IP network. Okay, so if you are confused, let's first see the practical. I think you will get your doubt cleared after seeing the practical. Okay. So here in the firewall policy, we have created one internet policies. Okay. So if you see here in the internet policy, I have mentioned all three ports here: VLAN 20, VLAN 30, DMG port, and outgoing interface, obviously our internet port, which is port 4. And in the source, I've mentioned DMG subnet, LAN subnet, VLAN 30 subnet. LAN subnet is nothing but it's a VLAN 20 subnet. Okay. And in the netting option here, I'm using outgoing interface address. So in this rule, I'm saying whatever coming from this source towards internet, use this IP address for the translation. Okay. And what is outgoing interface IP address here? So if you see here, outgoing interface, what is the outgoing interface? Port 4. Okay. So, and what is the address here? 192.168.111.133. So that is our IP address. So this is NetLab, that is why it is showing private IP address, but assume this is public IP address. Okay. So you just have to assume that it is a public IP address. Okay. So assume this is public IP address and when traffic is going from VLAN 20 or VLAN 30 or DMG port, it's translating on this IP address first, then it is sending outside like in the internet. So just click OK here and try to access something from a LAN PC, LAN 8. So, okay. So just try to ping google.com, that is internet website, or ping microsoft.com. Okay, so these are the internet sites and check the logs and report forward traffic. See here 2.1. So if you see here, okay, it is showing source IP. This is the original IP of server 192.168.2.1. This is NAT IP. So what it is saying, like uh, this IP is getting translated with this IP, and after that it is going outside. Okay, and this is the Microsoft IP address. Okay, so when your packet reaches to Microsoft server, uh, this is the source IP. Uh, they will see at their end. Okay. So in the Microsoft server end, they won't see this IP. Okay. So netting provides, SourceNet provide communication in between public and private network. Also, it provides kind of security also, like it hides your original IP address. Okay, so Microsoft and they are not going to see your original IP. They will see this IP address. Okay, and that is how you are able to communicate. If you see here, action accept policy ID internet policy and ID is 2. Okay, if you go to the firewall policy, see your ID is always unique. It will not get changed. Okay, so whenever you are creating any policy, one ID will get assigned to one policy, and uh, that that is going to be same number forever for that policy. Okay, so this is the use of uh, source net outgoing interface address. Okay, now there is some limitation with it. Okay, suppose if you are having more than 60,000 IP address in your environment. Okay, you are having you are working in a big company. Okay, and you are having more than 60,000 or 70,000 IP addresses uh, total, and those IP addresses or those PCs needs internet access. Okay, so in that case, one IP won't be enough for you. Okay. So what is the solution you will give here? Okay. So for that we need to use a dynamic IP pool. So suppose if you realize like okay, your 50,000 or 60,000 internet connection is working. Okay, but uh, if you're getting, if you're checking logs and you observe that, few IPs are hitting the rule, but it's not getting translated. Okay, it's not getting translated with public IP because your connections are more, but you have already utilized all the, ports in this public IP address. Okay, so for that, you can use dynamic IP pool. Here you can create a IP pool with range of IP address. Okay, like here we are using in use outgoing interface. Here we are using only one IP address, but in dynamic pool we can use two IP address or three IP address or more. Okay, so this internet pool. So I'll give 192.168.11.134. So here I have configured range 134, 135, and type would be overload only. Okay, for dynamic IP pool. Okay, so it is kind of PAT only. Okay, but it is extended version of PAT. Okay, here you can use more than one IP address, and just click on. Okay, so what it will do now? Okay, so if you're initiating multiple connections randomly, it will assign the IP address to your original IP address. Okay, so randomly it will take any IP address from both public IP. Okay, so suppose I am trying to access google.com from LAN8, and now try to access google.com from VLAN 30 3.0. Okay, let's check the IP. Okay, IP address is 3.1, but I haven't configured DNS here, so let's configure the DNS. Now ping.youtube.com. Okay, I'm able to ping. Now check the logs here. So first we'll see the logs for 2.1. So if you see here for 2.1 it is taking 135 IP. Okay. And for 3.1 it is also taking 135 IP. You can try from DMG also. So for DMG it is taking 134. So randomly it is taking any IP address or like suppose if 134 is fully utilized then it will take 135 only. Okay, so it's the extended version of PET you can say. So I hope this is clear now. Now we'll see one-to-one netting. Okay, so so for one-to-one netting you should have only original IP with one NAT IP. Okay. Suppose this is your DMG server and you want like whenever traffic goes from this DMG server to internet, only one IP address we will use for netting. Okay. So right now, uh, right now as per internet policies, it can use 134 also, 135 also. Like it can take any IP in this pool. Okay, for this DMG server. Okay. But we don't want any IP from this pool. We want to assign one specific IP to this DMG server. Okay. So first check IP address of this server. This is 1.2. So let's create a one rule here. And also remember in firewall policy, it works top to bottom. Okay. Like if this rule is not matching, then only it will check the other rule. Okay. Suppose we are initiating traffic from 1.2 to internet. Okay. 8.8.8. Okay. So first it will check this rule. Okay. Uh, so here it will see first from. Okay. Here it is mentioned from VLAN 30, but we are initiating traffic from DMG. So it will not, it will just ignore this rule and it will, check another rule. So it will check internet policies. Okay. And here DMG interface is mentioned. Okay. But again, it will check the IP address or subnet. So for DMG7, IP address is 172.16.1.2. So it will see here 1.2 is part of this subnet, and we are initiating traffic for google.com. So it will see like we have allowed destination all. Okay. And in service, we have allowed all. So obviously, this rule matches with your traffic, whatever you are initiating. Okay, then it will allow the access. Okay, as per this rule. Okay, so now we have to create new rule above this rule. Okay, otherwise, what will happen if you create it below? Then, when you initiate traffic from DMG, it will match this rule and it will allow. It won't go, it won't say below rule. Okay, I'll give you one example here. So I'm just creating one rule below for DMG 172 172.16.1.2. And incoming ports, we have to be very specific as a network admin. Okay, you allow only whatever you want to allow. Don't allow any extra things on the network and anywhere in the network policies, firewall, router, switches, access policy, anywhere. Don't allow any extra things. Okay. So if you want to create rule from this sub IP, so allow from this IP only. Okay, and select only that interface. So DMG to internet source. We have to mention a specific source here. 32 duplicate entry found. So we have already created source IP. So we can utilize that IP. Okay. Destination would be all in the netting. Use dynamic pool. Create one-to-one netting. DMG pool. Like I am going to use 140. Mention same IP address. Okay. 140 to 140. Enable the policy and now if I try to access google.com in the traffic, will it show 140 IP address or it will show 134 or 135 as per this rule? Okay. What do you think? Which rule it will match here, like internet policy or DMG one? I'm initiating multiple, traffic, so we'll see for all. Okay. Now go to the forward traffic. See, this is the last traffic which got initiated. Okay. You are able to see 134 only. Okay. 134, 134. And which rule it is hitting? Internet policy. You can see policy ID here. Okay. Action is accept. Policy ID, internet policy. This is the name and two is policy ID. So it's not hitting the DMG rule which we have just created. Why? Because it is matching with internet policy. Statement is already matched with internet policy. That is why it's not sending uh, traffic to match another rule. Okay. It's not always easy to explain in words. That is why we need to do practical and we need to show a lot of practicals here. Okay, so I would suggest if you're not able to understand with my videos, you just do practical yourself. You make lab as per given topology and try to do different type of netting, and that is how you would learn. Okay, so now go to the firewall policy again. And now what I'm doing, I'm just dragging this to above internet policies. Okay. It goes from top to bottom only. Now when we initiate traffic from this, it should a statement should match this rule. Okay. And it should use this IP address 140. Okay, now check the logs. This is minute ago. So just initiate more. It is showing old logs. Okay, so or maybe initiate for youtube.com. Okay, See, now it's taking 142. Sorry, 140. Okay. So, like, sometime it can take time. Okay. This is lab. So, in the lab, it usually takes 5 to 10 seconds. Okay. Or 15 to 20 second most. When you create the policy, you just wait for 15 to 20 second. Okay. That is for lab only. But if it is a production environment, if you are working on in your office and you're creating policies, so sometime you might need to wait 10 to 15 minutes and on or more than 15 minutes. Okay. So like you created one policy and you're asking user to initiate traffic and it's not working. Okay, you're checking instantly and it's not working. You started troubleshooting on that issue. Okay, so I would suggest don't do immediately. At least wait for 15-20 minutes. Then see if you're getting the logs and if logs are showing correct policies. Here, if you see, it is showing the correct policy. Okay, and correct net IP. So this is one-to-one net. Also, you can do one more thing here. Okay, suppose you want to do one-to-one netting for one more IP, okay? So you can take range here, okay? I have already created a range here, so remove this one. So what is the range? From 1 to 1, 1.2, okay? So, and how to create a range? Just in the type, you need to select IP range and like this, you can create a range, okay? You can mention IP range here. So if you mention like this now, so with name itself, you can identify like, this is the range you have created. Okay, so name is very helpful. Okay, see, so I have created a range for 1.1 to 1.2. Now, I if I take one IP here, then only one IP will work. Okay, other IP will not work. Okay, just see because this is one-to-one netting. Okay, so suppose and whatever whichever server will initiate traffic first, that will work and that will get the net IP as 140, and others server won't be able to use the internet. Okay, so let's try. So this is working DMG7. Let let's try from DMG6. If you see here, it's not working, cannot resolve. IP DNS is already configured here. Okay, but it's not able to communicate with DNS server. Okay, because netting is not happening. That is why it is saying cannot resolve or timeout. But this one is working. Okay, now check the logs. Okay, so first 1.2, you can see it's getting translated with 140 IP, and that is how it's working. And this server is able to access the internet. Okay, it is showing correct policy here, but for 1.1 it is showing same policy but deny policy violation. Okay, because in this case netting is not happening. Okay, and if netting is not happening, it cannot communicate with internet. Okay, and also like it is not going to match internet policy here for second IP, because a statement is matching with this rule. Okay, but problem is with netting. So don't accept like we have already configured internet policies over there, so internet should work with that rule. It will not work, okay? Because either you delete one IP from this source, or you create range, okay, here. Like mention two IP address 140 and 141, and okay. So now we have two original IP and two net IP. So one-to-one net should work fine. Now check the logs. We need to wait a little because logs are not showing current logs. So for 1.2 we can see, but it's old, I think. But you can see now both are working, okay? So if you wait little bit, it should show logs also here. See. So for 1.1 it is taking 140. For 1.2, 1.25. Okay, see here. For 1.2 it is taking 141, and for 1.1 it is taking 140. So like whenever you initiate traffic, okay, so first server will take first IP always, first net IP, and other server will take another IP. Okay, that is how it will work. And if you mention third source also in the rule, that will not work, okay, because you have configured pool for only two IPs. I hope now it is cleared. Okay, you now understand like what is source net, okay, with outgoing interface IP address, dynamic IP pool, and one-to-one. I would suggest you also do lab, and if you face any issue or if you have any doubts, you can just mention in the comment. Okay, thank you so much.